Mr. Mullen?
I was recently involved in a heartening experience. I'm a member of the Campbell Kiwanis Club and have been since 1978. The Campbellville Kiwanis Club had, over the years, worked very hard to establish an endowment for scholarships for kids who wanted to attend Campbellsville University. And we decided that after doing this for so long that we would get even more involved in that. So we took part of our own endowment and gave it to the college, $10,000 seed fund to fund scholarships for a student from Campbellsville Independent School in Taylor County High School. I mention this because I think that in this, as in so many other things, as we are learning, government cannot be the end-all and be-all of everything. I certainly think that government should continue doing what it's doing, at least at the levels it's doing, but in terms of financing the students' expenses, I think there's a lot that we as individuals can do, such as when you need to make a donation to a good cause, say in the name of a deceased friend. You can make that donation not in flowers, but in terms of a donation to the Lindsey Wilson Scholarship Fund, or the Campbellsville University Scholarship Fund. I think too, as Mr. Carney could probably tell you, the Berea example of how to educate children who cannot pay all of their expenses directly. That college has developed a system, and it's a pioneer in this, where each child has, not only has the opportunity to, is required to work a certain number of hours a week in order to help pay for their tuition. Now, I know that going to school is a big job, and I don't want to anger all the students, but I do think that you would be able to squeeze out enough hours to earn some pocket money and help out with the crunch for the cost of education. So, I'm down to 5 seconds. I can talk for an hour on this. That's the end of my time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mullins. Mr. Swan.
Well, like the question states, Kentucky is really blessed to have 20 private institutions that provide college education. And they serve about 30,000 college students. And actually over 20%, about 20% of our college graduates in Kentucky are from private institutions like Lindsey Wilson, like Campbellsville University. And what I love is Kentucky has recognized the importance of these institutions for our state. And Mr. Montgomery already mentioned them, but through KEYS money, through the Kentucky tuition grant, and then through the College Access Program, they're helping our high school students go on and get a baccalaureate degree or a technical degree or whatever they feel they need to do for their profession. Well, I'm a strong supporter of the Kentucky tuition grant because it really does help bridge the gap between going to a public university versus the cost of going to a private institution of higher learning. I think, if I remember right, the KTG pays about up to $3,000. And actually here at Lindsey, 2/3 of our students receive that. So I will do everything I can to ensure that we continue to support this and not cut it in any way. Interestingly enough, Tennessee does not have a program like this. So it shows that Kentucky, and on this issue, is in the forefront. I also want to mention that this is an investment in our state. It just gets really good returns. And Mr. Mullins made a great point earlier about the brain drain. These 3 programs help us stave off the brain drain. By encouraging students to go to college here, it encourages them to stay here. And so as a graduate of Lindsey Wilson and having taken graduate coursework at CU, I will be especially sensitive to the needs of our private institutions and make sure that they're treated just the same as our public institutions by state government, because sometimes there's a disparity there. Lastly, I just want to mention that the KEYS money that we've been talking about, it comes from the lottery. And as of right now, the lottery gives us about 26.4% of their earnings. It goes into the general fund. As state representative, I would push to increase that percentage, because if we're going to have a lottery in this state, I'm kind of amazed that all we're seeing that is just about a quarter. We could definitely bump that percentage up, get some added revenue that we need without raising taxes, and then apply it to things like the Kentucky Tuition Grant, the College Access Program, and the KEYS program. And finally, I just want to mention that all of this will help take care of itself if we just encourage economic competitiveness and development in our state. And I've already mentioned some of the things we need to do in order to achieve that goal.
Thank you, Mr. Sloan. That completes the floor. 3-minute questions. And now we'll go into the lightning round, which is 8 questions, and then a 9th that they all answer. 8 questions. Each candidate will get to answer 2 questions. The questions will be selected from this box by students, and students will lead the questions. So whoever's first. We will go in order, so we can come and take the first question.
All right, again, my name is Courtney Hatfield. I'm a freshman accounting major from Meade County, Kentucky. And as Mr. Colvin said, the first question is to Mr. Montgomery. While it is currently a dead issue, at least until the next legislative session, it is commonly assumed that Governor Brashear will continue to push for expanded casino gambling during his tenure. Why will you support or oppose his measure?
I can't support casino gambling. I feel that it brings too many bad issues to the state. As Doug talked about, the casinos across the river, it's almost in Kentucky. But as it brings organized crime, it brings addiction, gambling addiction. And to me, gambling addiction is worse than alcoholism. I have seen people that couldn't resist gambling. So I would totally oppose any casino gambling.